So you're a business owner, you dream of building a legacy, right? Of course you do. But here's a scary thought. What if I told you most of those legacies are left totally unprotected? Today, we're going to talk about the one thing that can secure everything you've built, a business succession plan.
All right, let's just get right to it. I've got a question for you. You've poured your blood, sweat, and tears into building this company, but have you ever stopped to think, what happens to it if you're suddenly not there to run it? Is that legacy you've worked so hard for, is it really protected?
I mean, just think about it for a second. All those years, the late nights, the weekends, the risks that probably kept you up at night. You built something amazing from the ground up. This isn't just a business, is it? No way. It's a massive part of your life story.
And that's exactly what we're talking about here. This isn't some line item on a balance sheet. It's your life's work. It's the culmination of all your dedication, your vision.
But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Despite all that incredible work, a shocking number of business owners just never plan for what happens next. They're so focused on building for today that they leave the future completely up to chance.
And, leaving things to chance, that's just a recipe for disaster. Because when the unexpected hits, and it always does, chaos can rush in and just take over. All that vision you had, gone.
And we're talking about real-life stuff here, things that happen all the time. What if an owner dies suddenly? Or a key partner becomes disabled and can't work anymore? Heck, what if the owners just can't agree on where the company should go? If you don't have a plan in place, these are absolute breaking points.
And this is the stark reality of what happens next. With no plan, that business you poured your life into, it could be sold off for pennies on the dollar. Your family, your partners, they could get tangled up in nasty, expensive legal battles. And maybe the worst part, a court, a judge, could end up making critical decisions about your company. The common thread here is pretty clear, right? It's a total loss of control.
Okay, but listen, it absolutely does not have to end up like that. Not at all. So let's pivot away from the crisis and talk about the solution, because there is a clear blueprint to make sure your business continues, and it continues on your terms.
And that blueprint is what we call business succession planning. And look, it's not just some dusty legal document you sign and forget about. No, it's a living, breathing, strategic process. It's all about you getting to decide, way in advance, how ownership and control get handed over. It's about making the whole thing smooth and predictable.
You see, a really good plan is comprehensive. It's not just for one scenario. It's got to cover everything. The stuff you plan for, like retirement or selling the business, but also the stuff you don't see coming, like a sudden death or a disability. It's basically a roadmap for almost anything life can throw at you.
So you might be wondering, okay, how do we actually build one of these plans? Well, it comes down to using a few key legal and financial tools. And the magic is how they all work together to give you back that security and that control.
Okay, this might look a little complicated, but let me break it down. These tools create a system that just works. Think of the buy-sell agreement as the rulebook. It lays out exactly what happens if an owner needs to leave, who can buy their share, when they can buy it, and for how much. But where does the money come from for that buyout? That's where something like key person insurance becomes absolutely critical. It provides the cash so the remaining owners don't have to drain the company's bank accounts or go deep into debt. See how they work together? It takes all the guesswork and panic out of the equation and replaces it with a clear, fair, and fully funded process.
And believe me, having a system like this is even more critical when we're talking about a family business. Why? Because you're not just dealing with business partners anymore. You're dealing with family dynamics, with relationships that go back a lifetime.
With family, you get a whole different set of challenges, right? Like, how do you handle things with the kid who works in the business versus the one who doesn't? How do you navigate that tricky line between what's fair and what's equal? A really solid plan tackles these sensitive questions head-on so you can protect both your family relationships and the business itself from falling apart.
All right, now this next point is so important. This is something that trips up so many business owners. Your personal estate plan, your will, and your business succession plan are two totally separate things. For example, your will might say, my daughter gets all my company's shares, but your business's operating agreement might say the other partners get first dibs to buy those shares. If those two documents don't talk to each other, you've got a huge problem. They have to be perfectly aligned. Because if they're not aligned, you get chaos. pure and simple. Your will says one thing, your business agreement says something completely different, and suddenly you've got a massive legal battle on your hands. And those fights, they drain money, they drain energy, and they can absolutely destroy family relationships. The worst part is, these problems almost always pop up when it's way, way too late to do anything about them.
So, let's kind of wrap this up. What have we learned? This is about so much more than just legal documents. It's about taking intentional, deliberate steps right now to protect the incredible legacy you have fought so hard to build.
It really all boils down to this simple idea. You've already done the hard work of building. Now, it's time for the crucial work of protecting. You have to plan for what comes next.
When you get right down to it, a succession plan is really an act of protection. It's a shield for your business against chaos, it's a shield for your family against conflict, and it's the ultimate way to preserve the incredible value you've created over all these years.
So, I'll leave you with one last thing to think about. Your business, it's a huge chapter in your life story. And by planning now, you get to write the ending to that chapter. You get to decide what the next one looks like. So the only question left is, what kind of story will it be? One of careful planning, continuity, and success? Or one that you simply left to chance?